Good morning, SLO. My name's Tim Dossa. I'm a senior manager with Burdette. We're a CPA firm who's been servicing the Central Coast for over 65 years with tax, audit, and attest services, as well as advisory services, which is the area that I tend to operate in. We have expertise in the agriculture industry, and we do service a handful of clients in the cannabis industry. So we've seen some things, and we've gone through a lot of continual learning on this subject. So, as an introduction, some of the things you need to be aware of in the cannabis, if you're going to do business with cannabis industry people. The first thing, it's confusing. And that's coming from somebody who works for a firm who has to interpret and understand IRS tax code. So there's 3 governing bodies in the state of California that govern cannabis: the Bureau of Cannabis Control, the California Department of Public Health, and the California Department of Food and Agriculture. So one governing body in the state of California can cause headaches. Imagine dealing with 3 around one product, what that must be like. Hemp, right? Hemp is legal now due to the 2018 Farm Act, but marijuana, still not legal under the federal laws. Hemp, marijuana, what's the difference? Aren't they the same? Yes, no. No, they're not, they're different. So that can be confusing as well. And for those of you who are restaurateurs or retailers who are thinking about selling products that have CBD from hemp in them, know that the Food and Drug Administration has not approved CBD as a food additive. So it's technically not legal to do so. You probably say, but wait a minute, I've seen drinks, I've seen food with CBD in them. Yeah, you have. Some people are doing it, they're just not doing it legally. So if you're thinking about doing it, you may want to talk to your lawyer first. From a regulatory standpoint, it's even more confusing. The states and the cities and the counties have been playing this regulatory game of ping pong for the last 2 years. You take it, no, we don't want it. Okay, we'll find the cities and states said, we'll take it and we'll do the regulations around it. And then they said, well, 75% of the cities and counties have actually banned it, which caused the voters to say, hey, wait a minute, we passed this. So now the states are going, now you have to do it, and there's lawsuits, and it's really kind of confusing. So just know that folks in this industry are struggling with this, and it's probably similar to the end of Prohibition days with alcohol. Dan, does that sound about right? No. Sorry. That's a really bad joke to tell at performance review season. So some things to know. First of all, the people that are operating in this industry legitimately, these are motivated, entrepreneurial, intelligent people. These are people with college degrees. These are not your, Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High type of crowd. Well, actually some of them are, but most of them are legitimate business people that they understand about capitalization and cash flow and product management and marketing and science. Secondly, if you're going to do business with folks, get used to seeing a lot of green stackable cash, because that's all they can really use. Get familiar with there's an IRS Form 8300, which says if you collect $10,000 or more from a single transaction from a single buyer, you need to report that to the IRS. And you also need to send them a letter at the end of the year that says, hey, remember that 15 grand you gave me in cash? I had to report that to the IRS, so Merry Christmas. Third, and really, I have a friend who's in this business, and some of these businesses are really, they're in it to get out of it, make a buck and get out. So one of his big piece of advice was, if you're going to do business with cannabis businesses, get the cash up front. Get a deposit at least 50%. The last thing really I would impress upon you is do your homework. Do the same kind of homework that you would as if you were going to partner with any other kind of business, right? The first question that we ask when someone comes through the door is, are you aware that your product is illegal at the federal level? If they don't answer the right way to that, then conversation is over. And ask, who are the owners of the business? You want to know who you're getting into business with. Are they well capitalized? 50 to 100 grand of capitalization is probably not going to cut it in this business. You need 3 times that at least. Where do they get their product from? What are they doing with their product? What's their background in education in this area? Do they have a lawyer? Because they should. Are they banking? In some cases, some of these companies are banking very small amounts with banks, which always leads me to the question of, so what did you tell the bank that you guys do? There's a lot of creative answers to that. Security, what kind of security do you have? That's a really important thing. And also documentation. What kind of documentation do you have? Because they're notorious about not having the greatest document. Oh, I need the Greek dancers up here. So lastly, lastly, really in conclusion, just treat dealing with a cannabis business like you would with any other business. Do your homework, vet them out, find out how serious they are, find out what kind of documentation they have, and get the cash up front. Thank you.